evening, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. I say that to kids that I work with at the Whaling Museum, and they have no idea what I'm saying. Some of you will get that reference, ladies, gentlemen, children of all ages. So, my name's Bob Rocha. I'm the Associate Curator of Science and Research down at the New Bedford Whaling Museum. I just tell people I'm the science guy there. And I'm part of the New Bedford Science Cafe Advisory Committee. I want to acknowledge other members of the committee that are here. Ann Parson is sitting down here in front. And I've noticed that Grant O'Reilly, Miles Grant, Elise Raposa, and Nathan Ricardo and Carrie Hawthorne are all here tonight. So thank you, all of you. We definitely need to acknowledge our hosts, the Last Round Bar and Grill. So Nick and Victoria and Steph and all the guys in the kitchen, thank all of you. It is quite obvious that you are doing as you are supposed to do, ordering food, ordering drink, and reordering drink. So well done by all of you. I'm guessing there are a few of you here for the first time, so let me give you a quick overview of the general format. One of the things you will not see, you probably haven't noticed, and maybe you've been looking for, is a screen with PowerPoint. Science Cafe does not have that. This is all about a science conversation. So presenters are usually here 20, 25, 30 minutes, and the rest of it is question and answer conversation. So you get to talk to our presenters tonight. And I will remind you of this at the end, but our next Science Cafe after this one will be Tuesday, January 9th. Bill Burke from the Cape Cod National Seashore, and I'll tell you more about him. Later on, when it comes time for Q&A, I don't know that we can get a microphone out to you, but if you're loud enough, Laura will repeat your question and then answer it. This microphone can't move because that's for the cable access camera over there. But this is our one active mic that actually projects the sound. And okay, so enough from me. Oh, I almost forgot to wish you a blessed Krampusnacht. And if you understand what Krampus is, tonight, December 5th, is Krampusnacht. And there's a great Washington Post article about that today. So tonight's presentation, led by Laura Gardner, will discuss the importance of community electricity aggregation programs, which save residents significant money and boost the use of renewable energy. So launched in 2016, the Massachusetts CEA program is the second largest in the country, with 25 towns, including the entire South Coast, which allow towns to buy their electricity in bulk and keep prices stable. And I know she and other climate activists hope that residents will opt up, that is, sign up for a higher percent of renewable energy, and she will explain why and how. And she will also touch on other ways households can confront global warming, including electrification options through the Inflation Reduction Act. That concludes tonight's presentation. So, let me tell you about Laura, because I actually know Laura through the UU Church. I know Laura and Will and the kids through the UU Church in Fairhaven. But more importantly, she is a National Board Certified Teacher in Library Media, is the teacher librarian at Dartmouth Middle School in Dartmouth, and co-chair of Climate Reality Massachusetts Southcoast. Professionally, Laura was awarded the School Library Journal School Librarian of the Year co-finalist award in 2016, and the American Association of School Librarians Reader Leader Social Media Superstar Award in 2019. This year, she is serving on the 2024 Newbery Award Selection Committee, a lifelong goal, which proves dreams come true. She is a huge reader, mother to two incredible children, and is married to Will Gardner, who founded Alma Del Mar Charter Schools. Laura became a trained climate reality leader in Minneapolis in 2019, and has since been advocating for an increase in renewables on the local level through the Community Aggregation Program. She rides her bike to work every day. Did you ride your bike here? Both of you? How about that? Talk about, putting your words into action. So ladies and gentlemen, help me in welcoming Laura Gardner.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you so much for that introduction and for inviting me to speak tonight. I'm really excited to be here. So I'm going to start by telling a story because I'm a librarian and that's how we like to talk. So in 2020, I had a new chapter of Climate Reality here on the South Coast. We only have 2 chapters in Massachusetts, so there's one in Boston, and then there's a Climate Reality chapter that I started here on the South Coast with a couple of friends of mine who also went to the 2019 training. And by the way, there are a couple of Climate Reality leaders in the room. We've got Carrie Hawthorne, we've got Mona Phillips, my co-chair, and we also have former Mayor John Bullard in the back, who was trained long, long ago. So in 2020, we were planning this big, amazing Earth Day event, and we were going to be a big part of it. And this was going to be our coming out debut, and then you know what happened. So in March, I was like, well, now what do we do? Because all of our plans centered on all of these in-person events, empowering youth, getting youth to speak up about why they cared about climate change. And now we couldn't do any of that. And so one day I got an email from a woman named Nicole, and she said, I want to tell you about aggregation. And I was like, what do you mean aggregation? And she said, well, aggregation exists on the South Coast and it's really powerful. And if we convince town leaders in any of the towns on the South Coast to opt up in their percentage of renewables as a default, it could be huge for changing the conversation about climate change on the South Coast and for making movement on this and with a local lever. And so I started to learn about this wonky policy that I didn't even know existed. And in the last 3.5 years, I've learned a lot about it. I've done a lot of trainings, and it's pretty exciting the ways that aggregation can really help save money for residents, but also increase renewable electricity here in Massachusetts. So, what is aggregation? So it's basically the bulk purchasing of electricity by residents, by a community on behalf of residents and small businesses. And it became legal to do this in 1997 in Massachusetts. It had to be passed at the legislative level. And it's now been passed in 6 states around the country, and active in 6 states around the country. There are actually 10 states that have passed legislation to make aggregation legal, but only 6 are actually doing it. And Rhode Island is the newest one. Rhode Island just passed that legislation last year. So 1997 was when it was legal for communities to do this. South Coast didn't get involved until 2016. So basically what happens is that every 2 years, South Coast town leaders come together with an advocate in good energy, which is basically a electricity broker, and they are legally able to purchase electricity on our behalf. And all of these communities have a representative who comes forward, and they all communicate, like, this is what we want out of our electricity, and this is a price we're kind of hoping for. And this is a town-approved program. So all the 25 towns that are part of our aggregation, which, as Bob said, is the 2nd largest aggregation in the entire nation and the largest aggregation in Massachusetts. All of those 25 towns buying in bulk together, obviously we're going to get a better rate. That really helps us save money as residents. They can't guarantee we will save money, but the truth is we have saved a ton of money over the last 7 years because of this. The other thing that happened in 2016 was that green municipal aggregation started. So regular municipal aggregation is just purchasing in bulk, but green municipal aggregation means that communities have the option to opt up in their renewable energy for the whole town, and they also have the option to offer residents the option to opt up on an individual basis. So that was pretty huge, and that was started by this amazing organization called Green Energy Consumers Alliance. I don't know if any of you have heard of them, but they do incredible work, and they have a lot of amazing webinars. Larry Crichton is the leader of that organization out of Quincy. Fun fact, Quincy has wanted an aggregation program for the last 3 years, and they're still waiting. More on that in a bit, but the Department of Public Utilities is definitely a barrier to some of this work in aggregation. So the goal of aggregation is to lower the cost of electricity for Massachusetts consumers, and it has absolutely achieved that goal. The other goal is price stability. In the aggregation program, basically, the energy broker can look at prices just the same way you would at a stock market and then choose when to purchase so that we get the best price for the next 2 years. Eversource and National Grid, they have to go out for bid every 6 months. So they might have a great summer price and then their price for the winter is pretty terrible. Whereas we get this nice, steady price stability for 2 years straight. It's been really great. One important thing to mention is that this is only the supply price. Your delivery is not affected whatsoever, and the delivery price is completely set by whatever your utility is. The other thing that municipal aggregation can do, though, is that it can mean more clean energy for Massachusetts. So here in Massachusetts, we have what's known as a renewable product standard, so the RPS. And there's a certain percentage of renewable energy that every community has to achieve, and that is going up over time. But because of green municipal aggregation, we are actually generating more renewable energy above that RPS. And so there are options. Basically, everyone in our aggregation right now can opt up to 100% renewable energy just by filling out a form on the website, masscea.com, choose your town. And it's not that much more per month. It's about 200 more per year at the most. It might not even be that much more. It just depends on the rates that they get when they go out to bid. But all of that extra energy, people who choose 100% renewable as an individual, that means more renewable energy generated here in New England. It's what's known as Class 1 REC, so it's local renewable energy. It means more local jobs. It means in renewables, it means better air quality here and all of that. All right, let me back up just a little bit. So there are 351 towns in Massachusetts. There are 167 towns that have municipal aggregation. You have to have it approved by the DPU, the Department of Public Utilities, which is this commission of 5 people that gets nominated by the governor. And unfortunately, there's been a huge backlog of communities that want municipal aggregation but haven't been able to get it. And that's been one huge barrier to this. Out of the 167 communities that have municipal aggregation, 55 communities have chosen that their entire town is going to opt up in renewable energy, which is a great way to spread the price. So in 2020, when my friend Nicole was saying, hey, municipal aggregation, what she wanted us to do was to convince town leaders to opt up for the whole town. And so we tried this. We had people from every town on the Southcoast email their local representatives and say, hey, what if we went to 10%? And, which by the way is $2 more per month on your electricity bill on average, per household. And everybody kind of ignored us, except the fact that I live in Fairhaven, and so do about 4 other people who are in our Climate Reality group, and so we actually got it passed in Fairhaven. So in September of 2020, the Select Board passed the 10% increase in renewables across the board, and it stayed that way ever since. And so this new contract, that's the case too. So that's been really huge. And that means that we are generating more renewable electricity from local New England renewable sources, enough to power, I think it's something like 3,500 homes, that 10%. It's significant. It does something. Oh, and also there's 49 communities in Massachusetts that have municipal utilities, which is a whole other ballgame. So the goals. Has it achieved savings? Yes. Green Energy Consumers Alliance just came out with their newest report. They love green municipal aggregation. They're huge fans. And they say that it has saved $200 to $237 per year on average for the average household municipal aggregation. It's just huge. This buying in bulk, the price stability, purchasing over 2 years, it's made a really huge difference. And those are people who are actually in the green municipal aggregation. They're still saving money, even though they're at 10% renewable or 20% renewable or something like that. It's about $500 million per year total that's been saved here in Massachusetts on electricity prices because of the aggregation. Absolutely, it's meant price stability. Eversource, again, has to go out for bid every 6 months. They just went out for bid for January. Eversource basic rates are going up to 17 cents per kilowatt hour in January. National Grid rates are 18 cents per kilowatt hour. The standard aggregation rate is 15.7 cents per kilowatt hour. The 100% renewable rate is 17 cents, which is the same as the basic Eversource rate and less than the basic National Grid rate. So you can be 100% in our aggregation program and claim that you have renewable energy certificates and your home is run on 100% renewable energy and still be paying about the same as you would if you weren't in the aggregation program, which is really awesome. And last year, the prices for Eversource in January went so high that the 100% was actually like a couple cents lower than the basic Eversource price. The clean energy, statewide, we've done 1 million megawatt hours above the RPS per year of clean energy, and that's only counting class 1 RECs. Some communities, Plymouth is one of them, have what's called national wind as their renewable source. Green Energy Consumers Alliance does not count that as an actual renewable source here in New England because it does not replace fossil fuels here in New England. It's coming from Texas. We want more renewable energy here. So that's an important distinction that some communities, unfortunately, have not yet gotten over. So how do I know if I have it? So if you look at your bill, which still comes from Eversource or National Grid, it will say it'll say Constellation on the bill when it says supplier. It'll say like Constellation Fairhaven or Constellation New Bedford. All of us have Constellation because we're all in one aggregation. Our communities can make individual decisions the way that Fairhaven went up by 10% as a default, but we all purchase together, which is the power there. The website to go to is masscea.com. If you look at your bill and you do not have Constellation, if it says basic Eversource or basic National Grid, or if it says some other company you've never, like you heard of once because they came to your door and they convinced you to join, you can go to masscea.com to join. Everyone should be automatically enrolled. It's the kind of program where you have to opt out. Everyone is opted in automatically. Again, it's town approved. Your town looked at all the information, your select board or whoever it was, and said, this is good for our residents. And they're right, it is really, really good. But some people may have been confused when they got the letter in the mail. I know we saw a lot of confusion in Fairhaven on Facebook when that letter went out, and people were like, what is this? It's a scam. And you know, a few people went on and said, no, it's not. And then I went on and I've made a couple of PSAs with the town of Fairhaven, Derek Freites, he's the best, the TV department there. And so I just posted my link to my PSA because it's not a scam. It's like totally amazing and town approved and good stuff. But some people have been scammed. If someone comes to your door and says, I have a great deal for you and it's going to be 100% renewable, chances are that is a scam. The aggregation program doesn't come to your door. It happens automatically because the town already approved it. So I actually have a friend who looked at his bill after I talked about this with him, and he said, I'm paying, what was it? It was 60 cents a kilowatt hour he was paying. Because he got contacted by some company and they said, here's the rate, it's gonna be great, it's 100% renewable. And then as soon as he signed, the next month, they hiked the rate. He didn't pay attention to his bill, it was on auto pay. Next thing he knew, he was paying $300 a month for his electricity bill. That is legal in the state of Massachusetts. It shouldn't be. There is legislation to change that because those predatory energy companies, they should not be allowed to do what they're doing. And no surprise, the people that they're targeting, it's low-income people, it's people of color, it's people who don't speak English as a first language, it's elderly, it's people who may not know how to sift through the information and know what's right and what's wrong. So it's really, it's a ton of inequity in terms of who gets targeted by these predatory companies. So like if you are targeted, there's probably a reason why. But over 6 years, Governor Healey's office discovered that Massachusetts residents lost $525 million to those predatory energy companies. That should be banned. That should not be allowed in this state. It makes me really mad. It makes me really mad. So there are difficulties with the aggregation program. One is the DPU, as I said. There are 22 communities around the state waiting for their approval to join municipal aggregation. I feel so bad for Larry of Green Energy Consumers Alliance because he does so much work advocating for this, and his community of Quincy is still waiting. Like, they've been waiting for 2 years, and Rhode Island got approved in 1 by their DPU. It's completely ridiculous. So there is a bill, House Bill 3852, and it's being advocated for by Green Energy Consumers Alliance, by Good Energy, which is our broker, and Good Energy has been trying to get municipalities to sign on to it. So one thing you can do, besides sign up for 100% renewable as a household, is you could contact your town leaders and tell them, hey, can you sign on to House Bill 3852? Contact Good Energy. Just find out who the energy manager is in town and make sure they know that this is a way of getting more local power back. Because the DPU isn't just preventing communities from joining municipal aggregation, they're also preventing communities from joining green municipal aggregation. This summer, I got super excited because I watched a Dartmouth Select Board meeting and I watched the energy manager, Kathy Stanley, talk about how they were gonna go up to 10% renewable energy as a default through the aggregation program. And I was like, yes, it worked. I've been trying for the last 3 years to convince other communities to do what Fairhaven did in 2020. And then at the next select board meeting, she took it away. And I was so confused. And I was like, I was mad. And then I found out it was completely out of her control. Because now the DPU doesn't just want to control whether you get to join the municipal aggregation, they want to control whether you change your percentage of renewables too, which should not be in their control. They should, that should be something that the town leaders get to decide. So that's in the legislation too, is that they would have a timeline of a certain number of months to approve anything that comes before them, and that once a town has municipal aggregation, the town gets to make decisions about what they do from there. And I think that pretty much everyone can agree that we like having local power. In general, this municipal aggregation, green municipal aggregation, why I like it as a climate activist is it feels really possible. They're like big problems. And I'm like, how do we deal with these federal problems and these state problems and these international problems like plastic? It's like so frustrating. But when you give me like a lever where I just have 5 select board members that I need to call and tell them I want to keep the 10% renewable, I'm like, yes, I can do that. I can totally do that. So I like that it's a local lever. A couple of other things I need to mention. One is that this does not affect low-income customers whatsoever. There's something known as R2. Low-income customers get 30% discount on their electricity bill. This does not affect it. They still get that. It also doesn't affect your solar net metering. So if you have solar panels and you sometimes get money because you're contributing to the grid, this doesn't make any difference on that. And that's all in the FAQs that they have on the sheet that they sent you in the mail that was super confusing. So in July of 2022, they came out with a report. Statewide, we've got 43% of people in Massachusetts, 43% of households on municipal aggregation. 40% of households have basic service, and 17% have one of those individual competitive supply contracts, which are really just predatory energy companies that are stealing money. So we've got a lot of people here in Massachusetts that are served by this. It's confusing, so I've kind of taken it on myself to like try and demystify it as much as I can with handouts and PSAs, and I'm so grateful I was able to come and speak to you tonight about this so that I can further demystify it. I do have a handout about all of this to try and make it as simple as possible. It has the rates on here along with the website to go to if you want to join the program, if you find on your bill that you do not have Constellation, or if you want to switch to 100% renewable, that's another great thing. You can just pass it out. I didn't give it out sooner because I'm a teacher and I know what you do if I give you a handout. You don't listen, so. And then the other handout that I have, one of the really big pushes at Climate Reality is to make sure that everybody knows about the free money that the government has for you to make modifications and upgrades to your home. Who here has a heat pump and loves their heat pump with all their heart? Me. Yeah, that first week of September when I was dying at school because we do not have air conditioning at school, and then I would get home and my home was perfectly comfortable. Plus, it was being all generated by my heat pump and renewable energy since I'm 100% renewable thanks to the aggregation program. So I have a handout about all the tax credits available to you. It's not just heat pumps, it's also solar, it's geothermal. My mom has geothermal, she loves it. It's insulation materials. Basically, the best way to start is get in touch with Mass Save. We have done Mass Save in my household every 3 years, pretty much on the dot, because they give you free stuff and all sorts of, discounts and rebates for all these improvements that you can make that will not only make your house more comfortable, but also hopefully lower your bills. So it's important to use everything that's out there, and this is a huge way of fighting the climate crisis, is making sure that households are as energy efficient as possible. So I encourage all of you to look into it if you haven't yet. We got a $10,000 rebate on our heat pumps. It was pretty incredible. Okay, I don't know, did I do okay? What time is it? It's all right? Okay. So I'd love to hear if anyone has questions, but okay, thanks. And if anyone does know that they want to opt up to 100%, I have a very nice sticker that you can put somewhere to show off that you've done it and then encourage other people to find out more. If you did one thing after tonight, I would just love it if you would explain this to someone else. It'll help you cement your own understanding, but it will also really spread the word about something that I think a lot of people don't understand. I've talked to a few people about it, and they're always surprised to find out that we have this here. So, all right, yeah.
I have two questions. One is, you kept mentioning that the more we choose renewable energy, the more we generate. How does that work?
Yes, so it's all about demand and supply. So when we, I was talking about how when we choose renewable energy, the more they'll supply. So when we have demand for renewable energy through the aggregation program, that means that more renewable energy projects are able to come online to fulfill that demand. And these are renewable energy projects throughout New England. It's like anaerobic digesters, wind, solar. Offshore wind is going to be part of that. There was legislation about that too.
Why don't they come online automatically?
They're very expensive to come online. So if they don't know the demand is there for it and they don't know the RECs will be used by someone, then they don't have the incentive to start the projects.
And then what's the holdup with the state utility commission? Why are they holding back?
Why is the DPU holding back? Bureaucracy is what I hear. I worry that it's something else, but I don't know. I mean, fossil fuel interests are pretty strong and they have a lot of power, but I'm told it's bureaucracy. I don't know, it's a 5-person commission and they are approving things just fine at the DPU in Rhode Island, but they're not here, so I don't know.
Who appoints that commission?
The DPU commission is appointed by the governor. She's so far appointed, I believe, 2 people to the 5-person commission, but the other 3 were appointed by Baker. Yes.
When I put the pushback from politicians as to why they don't want to opt out of that 10% renewable.
What has been pushed back from politicians about why they don't want to opt out? Thank you for asking that, Jamie. So in local communities, some communities have said they don't want to opt out because they don't want the price of electricity to go up for seniors who live on a fixed budget. I forgot to mention that it's really easy to opt down. So in Fairhaven, we actually were required to do a big information campaign about how you could opt down to Fairhaven Basic. Fairhaven Basic is the same rate that everybody across the rest of our aggregation gets. That 15 cents. It's not hard to do. There's a phone number to call, there's a website to do. We especially did it through the Council of Aging. We had flyers in all the library books that went out for like 2 months straight to make it clear if you don't want the $2 more per month, you can opt down to a different rate. So that's one thing we've heard, that seniors are the concern. The other thing is just not wanting to confuse people more. That's the biggest con, honestly, of the aggregation program, is that it's confusing. Obviously, I had to explain it to a lot of people. My husband, I think, maybe understands it today for the first time, but I've explained it to him a lot, and I don't know, it might be him, but.
So when I go home and look at my bill, I can see basically, what should I be seeing? And when you say opt up to green, can you explain even more what to do? And why aren't I getting letters from the town about this?
Great, so Anne asked, when she gets home and looks at her bill, what should she be looking for, and how does she know how to get to 100% if she wants to, and why isn't she getting a letter from the town? So the website to go to is masscea.com to opt up. It's so simple to do, but when you look at your bill, it'll say under supply, Constellation Dartmouth, or Constellation Fairhaven, or whatever it is. You're not going to see anything different on your bill when you opt up to 100%. It won't change. You'll see the rate change on your bill. But if you go to the aggregation website, which is at masscea.com, it has like community drop-down boxes. And you can choose the community drop-down box and choose your town, like say Dartmouth. And then it'll have all the information laid out, and it will say, you know, here's a form to fill out on the website if you want to join the aggregation program, or if you want to switch to 100%, and you just need your Eversource number. That's the only thing you need that you won't have in your head. Like you could do it right now, but you'd need your Eversource number. The last time I gave a talk like this in Westport, some people brought their bills, and they did it right there with their phone. It's very simple. And then you will get an email from Good Energy, I believe, saying that they got your email and they'll do it. You probably did get a letter from the town. It was probably really confusing. Exactly.
So can you go from what we've all been doing, which is the electricity, and suddenly be a part of the 100% up? I
Yeah.
don't have to go through the stages.
No. Yeah, so if you're not part of municipal aggregation, you can join tomorrow and it'll be on your next bill. You could join 100% tomorrow and it'll be on your next bill. It happens really fast. It's not difficult. The really annoying thing was that anyone who was already at 100%, we got a letter that was super confusing that was like, you're out of the aggregation program and now you have to rejoin, and if you want to join back at 100%, you have to do that. It was super weird, especially the people who were at 50%, because the 50% option went away. There used to be a 50% renewable option on the last bill, and they just took it away, partly because the whole aggregation is close to 50% now with the way the RECs work. So our RPS is just going up year by year. And unfortunately, that RPS is made up of not just Class 1 RECs. Different people count it different ways. Green Energy Consumer Alliance, they are really specific about only counting renewable energy certificates that come from New England sources, but the state sometimes counts it differently. Anyway, but yeah, anyone can join. It's really easy to join at 100% renewable. It'll probably be called something like Fairhaven Plus, Dartmouth Plus. I believe they changed the name, so now it's just like the name of the town and the word plus. And it will be at the rate of 17 cents per kilowatt hour, which is, again, the same as what Basic Eversource will be starting in January. Any other questions?
I have a question. So I know that you said, can you hear me? Okay, so I know that you said that one of the concerns is for fixed income households. If you receive the assistance rate from, say, Eversource, you get that off of your delivery rate. I guess I'm asking for affirmation. You get that assistance discount off of your delivery rate, and the renewable is coming from your supply, so you can still say, yes, I want renewable supply, and still have the discounted assistance rate?
Yeah, because the low-income R2 comes off the supply and the delivery. So yes, you could do that. Great. I hope you heard her question. I'm sorry. Her question was about the, if you're on the low-income R2 rate, if you could still opt up with the supply, which you totally could. Yeah. There was a question over here, I think. No? Yeah, go ahead, Aaron.
What are the sources of alternative energy at this point? Where is it coming from?
I don't have specific programs where so yeah, sorry. Where is the renewable energy coming from? I don't have specific programs. The Green Energy Consumers Alliance has like a general map where they show like here are different things. It's solar, it's anaerobic digestion, it's wind, it's geothermal. It's all sorts of different sources.
Percent is available?
I don't know that. I don't know what percent is available, but I do know that offshore wind can contribute once that's live. I think it was last legislative session, a bill was passed that included a provision that offshore wind could be part of the municipal aggregation green portion, which is great because there's going to be a lot of renewable energy certificates generated by those wind turbines. So, any other? Yeah.
So I love this tax credit more, and I'm just curious, is there a strategy you need to do some in 2023, some in 2024, some don't do before 2025? Like, is there a strategy that you can foresee that you would recommend? And I ask this because a website that I learned about through Climate Reality Project was Rewiring America. So anyway,
Yeah.
you might.
So Gina talked about this form right here, the IRA tax credits, and if there was a strategy for when you would get which tax credit for which thing in your house. I might be wrong. Mona would be the best one to talk to about this, but I think it's probably different for every household depending on your needs. I mean, insulation, if you haven't done insulation yet, that's probably the most important thing on here. But yes, the rewiringamerica.org website is a fascinating, fabulous resource. There's tons on there. Climate Reality has done some great webinars with them. Our chapter has too. So that's a really wonderful resource to learn more about all the different options that are out there. And on their website, you can actually put in like what kind of household you have, and then it'll tell you kind of what your priorities are. There's somewhere on the website that has that, so. Okay.
Questions back there? Any other questions? You want more questions? Elise?
So there's been some past state has been using criticism for being run by the municipalities where they're supposed to be reducing your energy use, but their bottom line is driven by increasing your energy use. And so there's been some movement
So I don't really know very much about that, but I think it's fascinating. So her question was related to the fact that Mass Save is run by energy companies, and that there's of course a problem with having energy companies run Mass Save when goals are opposing. I don't really have a ton. I haven't really thought about that a ton yet, but you know, I have used Mass Save in the past, and I found it to be pretty manageable and okay, but I definitely have misgivings about any time that an energy company is running something like that. So, you know, I would definitely want to read more about that and learn more about that for sure.
So if anybody wanted clarification about that confusing letter they got in the
Yes.
mail, how did they get it?
So if anyone wants clarification about that confusing letter you got in the mail, I really recommend greenenergyconsumers.org. They have a ton of information about everything I talked about tonight, including webinars and their most recent report about all of this and the ways that it's saved Massachusetts residents tons of money and also created lots of great renewable energy around the state and more demand for renewable energy. Our website, climaterealitysouthcoast.com, also has a page about opt-up, and I've put my PSAs on there that I've created as well. And if anyone is interested, you can join our email list, and we send out weekly emails with events that we're sponsoring, as well as any action steps that you can take. Like, for example, contacting your municipality about supporting House Bill 3852, which would put more local power in communities when it comes to these aggregations. So, yeah.
Mention the Facebook page too?
Oh, and we're on Facebook, Climate Reality Project Massachusetts Southcoast, and you can always email me. The email's on the website, and I'm always happy to talk about aggregation. So, yes, Gina.
Do you know of any contractors who are particularly attuned to this and are really, we should support them because they are going more green than the others?
I don't. Do you? Do you know any contractors who are really good at being green? Anybody want to recommend a business?
Larry.
Boston Heating and Plumbing.
You say Boston Heating and Plumbing?
Boston Heating and Plumbing.
Boston Heating and Plumbing. We got a recommendation. Thank you.
Boston.
Boston.
BOSTIN.
Yep.
Boston.
Boston Heating.
Okay.
Anybody on that side have a question? All right, well, what's the next? That's fine. We like lots of, oh, here we go.
So all these random letters we get from Texas or where, I just look at them and rip them up and throw them away.
Yep.
Are you doing the
Yep.
right thing?
Yep. You've been doing the right thing. If you've been ripping up letters from solar companies or energy companies out of other places, that's good. Rip those up. If it has the town seal on it, that's when you read it. Okay. Anything that comes to you about the aggregation program should have the town seal on it. The masscea.com website, all of the different pages for the communities, they have the town seal on them. That's how you know it's town approved. So, absolutely, keep doing it.
If it has the town walrus, you should be really suspicious. Anybody else? Don't go over there. Oh, good. We have a question from, looks like Carrie over there.
I'm just wondering, are there any towns in the Southwest that are not currently signed up that we should be advocating for if we live there?
They're all part of the municipal aggregation program. Every single one of them. And then there's a bunch of other random towns that aren't on the South Coast because it's 25, and obviously we don't have 25 towns here. But no, they're all a part of it. So we don't have any municipal light towns on the South Coast. So yeah.
I just looked up on my phone. Christian Alternative Heating was very good. You asked about
What was the name of the company?
Cushnet Alternative Heating.
Acushnet Alternative Heating.
There's a guy named Lou who was
Okay. Ask for Lou.
yeah, no.
Thank you, Fitz.
vote?
Heating.
I'm gonna have to stand in the middle because of the feedback, so.
So we have a round of applause for Laura, please. And as we like to do for all of our presenters, we have a little thank you present for Laura. And hopefully you'll be able to hold that. The handle should be long enough so when you're riding a bicycle.
I have a bag.
That's right. So just a couple of other things. Again, let's thank Last Round because they are normally not open on Tuesdays. They open specifically for us once a month for this event. And so for those of you that were here for the first time, we hope it was worth your while and that you'll consider coming back. And for you repeat offenders, thank you for being here. And next one will be Tuesday, January 9th. Bill Burke from the Cape Cod National Seashore, he's an archaeologist for them, will speak on excavating the Great Island Tavern in Wellfleet. This is a place where Native Americans, whalers, and European settlers gathered to drink, smoke, and socialize together from 1690 to 1740. It's not a place you can get to easily because I've seen it on a map and it's kind of a long, arduous, sometimes very wet walk. So it'll be cool to hear that from him and interesting to see how he does it without the help of PowerPoint. So again, thank you all for being here. Thanks for eating, drinking, spending, and being a great audience for our presenter, Laura Gardner, tonight. Have a wonderful evening.